that out of our system, but Welcome, race fans. Welcome to the Downforce Racing Series, week number 5 here at Talladega Super Speedway. We've got a couple of guys still on the track doing some qualifying. We're going to cover a little bit of that. But we have a special guest in the booth today with regard, by the way of Caden Henry Oaks. Caden unfortunately serving a one-race suspension, but he is joining us in the booth for today's race. Today's race. Caden, how's it going, my friend?
Pretty good. Excited to see how tonight turns out. It's going to be a fun watch and glad to take part.
Yeah, absolutely. We if I can find my dang mouse on my screen, we will see who we can spectate on the track. Believe where we at? Right here. We've got Chris Walker out on the track right now, putting his qualifying lap down. What I'm going to do for you, Caden, I'm going to share my screen in Discord. If you want to watch it, you should be able to see what's on my screen, and as far as the overlays and timing and all that stuff. But as of right now, Todd McGregor is on the pole right now with a 52.09. We've got Tyrone Harris on the track right now coming down the backstretch. He is about a hundredth of a second slower. We've got 12, 13, 14, 15 drivers on the track today. Would have been at least 17 because Devin Sanchez also serving a penalty as well. Now, Caden, obviously, you know, the suspension due to the incident on the track with Devin Sanchez. We're not going to get into the incident, but just a quick question: how does this kind of, or does it affect you going forward as far as racecraft and point standings and all that stuff?
I mean, it definitely affects the shape of the championship and how that pans out over the course of the season, right? But it's not necessarily going to affect my stance on how I approach these races. And, you know, I do my best to give everybody the same respect they give me on track. And 99 times out of 100 never have an issue. But, you know, we're just going to approach it like we do every week and, you know, just keep on trucking.
Yep, that's all we can do, right? We will have an incident. You know, if you get penalized for it, you just take it on the chin, move on to the next week. And you know, I've been covering this series for a while, and I've seen you in some other series as well, and I know how you race. So this, you know, the incident's kind of a one-off. So, but still glad to see. Excuse me. Glad to see. You know, you're in good spirits about it, and I'm definitely glad to have you here in the booth tonight. Always great to have a sidekick. Kind of gives you someone to talk to and someone to kind of pick up those dead zones where you really just don't know what to say. And unfortunately, that happens a lot. And but with the with the carnage that is Talladega, I don't think we'll have any shortness of action to talk about. So, but as we talk about that, we're gonna take a look at our race info for tonight. We're here for the Downforce Racing Series, week number 5 at Talladega Super Speedway. We'll be going a total of 80 laps, just under 170 miles. We'll have one stage break at lap 30, 4 additional green-white tire sets, 3 additional green-white checkers. Fuel winner is going to be 100%, and we'll have 2 fast repairs for tonight, which is always good. A lot of leagues don't have fast repairs. This league is one that has fast repairs. You know, not exactly sure how I feel about fast repairs. I know it's great if you get in a wreck, get a fast repair and get back out there. But the leagues that don't have fast repairs, I kind of tend to gravitate towards them because it forces everybody to drive a little bit cleaner. Now, we don't have that issue too much here in the Downforce Racing Series, as these drivers are fairly clean 99.9% of the time. Yeah, we've got a few drivers still left to qualify. Everybody else is done. We've got Keith Handelin on the track. We've also got Fred Williams on the track. Fred Williams, I think, is making his way back to the Downforce Racing Series, and we'll kind of just go from there. But Caden, what are kind of some of your pre-race predictions, and what do you expect out of the guys here in the field?
Well, normally I see like PK and Chris, Charlie are all here tonight. I expect them to kind of just bide their time in the first stage. They tend to do that, and we get later in going. They're 100% going to be up front. They know how to run together. The three of those have run together for a long time now. They know how to work well. They're teammates. I definitely keep my eye out for them. Jordan won last week. Looking to keep his momentum up and make up some points tonight, being that there's a couple of us that are not racing that are higher up in the standings. So he's looking to get his first championship here, and looking for him to take advantage of the opportunity and get a good finish.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see a lot of drivers here being patient. There's a one big strategy that a lot of people have, and that's just to survive, and that sometimes comes by way of staying in the back, staying away from the carnage, and waiting for the right opportunity to make your move and get your way up front. But we'll look at our starting grid right now. Starting on the pole is going to be Todd McGregor in the number 71 machine, and Charlie Woods in the number 40 on his outside. Row number 2, Tyrone Harris in the number 1 machine, and Bob Lacavera in the number 5. Row number 3, Keith Handelin and Chris Walker. Row number 4, Philip Sanchez and Fred Williams. Row number 5 is going to be Drew Chisler and Jordan Ippolito. Row number 6 is going to be Paul Crumry and Hanover Fist, a.k.a. Terry Adams. Row number 7, Dave Hunt and Ron Deal. Row number 8 is going to be Mike Whitaker and John Anderson, and that's going to round out your field. Now, Jordan Ippolito is last week's winner, Caden, and like you said before, he's hoping to keep his momentum up, go for another win here, at least a top 5, top 3 finish. And he is your teammate. So what is it like teaming up with Jordan week in and week out as you guys prepare for these races?
It's good. We have good chemistry. I've known him for about 12 or 13 years now. We go back to the NASCAR Inside Line days on Xbox 360. So it's good to have him around, and I'm glad that he's picked up iRacing, even if it's just racing once a week with me. It's fun to have somebody that's been around for a long time to join the crew.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, how long have you been racing with the fellas here at Downforce Racing Series?
I joined here about 2 years ago. It was like September of 24. I started racing with these guys, and it's because I found them, on YouTube. At the time, they were being broadcasted by a different provider that I had also known for a while, and they accepted me with open arms, and I've enjoyed racing here since I've started.
Yeah, that's awesome, and I'd love to to get in and do some racing with you guys. Unfortunately, my work schedule is a little hectic, and I would run on the Thursday nights, but I picked up another broadcasting gig on Thursdays. But these guys here, Downforce Racing Series, they're a great bunch of guys. They were kind of my pilot program when I was getting started with broadcasting. I broadcasted the majority of their Gen 6 season last season for free, and they've came around and they said, hey, listen, we're going to fund you for next season. So very thankful for the guys here at Downforce Racing Series, and we're in for a show. We've got 80 laps here. Pace cars leading them into turn number 3. We have one stage that'll be coming at lap number 30. Now, the caveat here, it's just a competition caution. It's not a points stage. It just gives everybody a chance to reset. It'll bunch up the field a little bit, give a few guys a chance to get back on the lead lap, and it makes for like a little reset. So, but pace truck coming out of turn number 4, and we are set to go green here momentarily. Pace truck is off. Todd McGregor on the pole. Charlie Woods to his outside. Charlie Woods, a winner 2 weeks ago. He's going to be looking to make some headway here. And we are green here at Talladega. You've got Tyrone Harris on the inside, giving Todd McGregor a big push. Bob Lacavera on the outside, pushing McGregor.
It's a good launch by the inside line. They're a little bit more packed up than the top. They got 4 cars right in line compared to 3 on the outside.
Yeah, you've got, you get the right camera here. You've got McGregor, Harris, Keith Handlin, and Philip Sanchez all real tightened up on that inside line in the number 6 car of Chisler as well. Bottom line, looks like these guys single filed out. The top 4 on the outside kind of hung out to dry here. But Talladega is a unique track, right? You don't necessarily have to run up front the entire race. You can kind of hang in the pack, save some fuel, because Caden, you know as well as I know, being up in the front, you're going to waste a whole lot more fuel.
Yeah, and that's another thing that you play when you have the stage yellows in the races that we do like this. You either want to be pretty much leading and getting those laps led, getting the bonus points, or kind of in the back trying to save fuel so that way you can have a shorter stop. There's really one approach or the other, at least from my perspective, as far as that's concerned. So that way you can get track position for that final run.
Yeah, those extra seconds on pit road will definitely cost you a few positions. So definitely playing that fuel game and that strategy plays a big part in how you finish this race. Now, we haven't seen much moving. Nobody really making moves, looking to gain position. Everybody just kind of filing in line and waiting for their opportunity, as we do see the inside line gaining a little bit of ground on the outside line. Now, Caden, if you're on the track right now, do you prefer being on the inside or the outside?
The outside, easily. If you can get 4 or 5 cars that are closely packed up together, a little bit tighter than what they are right now on the top side, you can make that outside lane run like a train around that whole track and basically kind of lead everybody. Just because when you're side by side, you naturally have that advantage coming off the corner because you have a bigger run down the straight.
Yeah, I'm on the same page with you. I prefer the outside line. More so for the momentum you get, but also it's a little bit easier to side draft when you're on the outside. Also, there's a lot of factors that come into play there when you talk about side drafting. If you're on a single monitor or triple monitor, you can kind of side draft off the passenger side when you have triples, because you can see a little bit more about where your nose is. But the outside line, you're on the left side of the car and you can really see where your nose is, and you can really get close to the guy on your inside and side draft the absolute heck out of him. "16 cars in the field today." Your leader currently, Charlie Woods, diving down to the inside in front of McGregor. And you've got Lacavera, Harris, and Chris Walker rounding out your top 5 as they come down the back straightaway. Getting ready to conclude lap number 5. Let's see if we can't go on board here with Todd McGregor as he's on the bumper of Charlie Woods. Charlie coming.
Yeah, and you can see here.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, you can see here, these first 3 or 4 cars in line on the bottom, they're going to be running wide open, just because of the draft model was updated back in March or May, something like that, earlier this year. Made these cars a little bit harder to suck up onto the back bumper, so naturally the first 3 or 4 cars are going to be separated a little bit further, and also we run 110% power, so that actually makes that little bubble a tiny bit bigger for the air. Makes it a little bit more realistic compared to previous builds, in my experience, between being on a sim and we got Tyrone up in the wall.
Bunch of cars involved in that. Mike Whitaker. Geez. Ippolito skating away without any damage there. But, wow, we're going to have to go back and take a look at what happened. We'll take a look at the AI Chief instant replay. Well, we're going to have to back that up just a tad bit. I don't know if we can. Yeah, we're not going to be able to back it up. Let's see if we can't slow it down. Looks like the 56 got into Harris, which then came up the track and got into Mike Whitaker. That's going to be John Anderson involved in that. Very unfortunate. The good thing is we've got fast repairs. Everybody able to make it back to the pits. Believe Tyrone Harris and John Anderson did have to tow, which is a little unfortunate. But, yeah, let me see if I can't.
Yeah, it looks like the 95 of Fred Williams just got loose on entry to 3 there and lost the rear end of the car.
Let's see.
Going down into Tyrone.
You said Fred Williams?
Yeah. On entry to 3, lost the rear end of the car.
Let's take this all the way back. Down the back straightaway they come. We're going to keep an eye on Tyrone Harris, the 95 on his outside. Entry to 3. Williams loses the rear. Comes down into Harris. That's exactly what happened right there. Unfortunate chain of events, but they've got fast repairs and they're able to get back on track. Now I need to see if I can do this. No, that's not what I wanted. There we go. Playback. That's what I need. There we go. Now I can rewind it. We'll make sure we do that for the next one, because we know that we are going to have another one. But Caden, that's just a product of Talladega, right? It's you know, it's not if you wreck, it's when.
Yeah, I mean that's really what it comes down to. You know, it's very hard to have a race go here without an accident or anything like that, just because of the nature of how tightly packed up everybody is.
And unless it's me who's racing, because I did an official last season. I think it was, when was it? Yeah, it was last season, and I got a speeding penalty down pit road, put me to the rear of the field, and it went full green. I had absolutely no chance of getting back on a lead lap. So it's possible, right? The chances are low, but never zero.
Right. You're 100% right about that.
So Mike Whitaker, Tyrone Harris, your first 2 cars a lap down. If all goes well, they'll get back on the lead lap at the conclusion of lap number 30. Or the conclusion of lap number, yeah, maybe the conclusion of lap number 30 once we have that stage break, and yeah, they'll be back up there, and ripping and running. But unfortunate for Fred Williams. I'm not sure if he's ran in the Downforce Racing Series before. I do believe this might be his either first race with the series or his first race back. But unfortunate for him. Good thing is, it's they have 2 fast repairs, right? So, so if you think about it, Caden, if you only have 1 fast repair, what does using up that first fast repair do for you mentally?
You kind of want to take it easy, make sure you don't put yourself in that position again, just because, it's limited, and this racing is very, it's out of your own control, right? So you're at the hands of others when it comes to that part of the racing. Just trying to make sure you put yourself in the best spot you can to ensure that nobody else ruins your day.
Yeah, I mean, you can control your car the best you can, but it's the other people that you have to worry about. But we'll take a quick look at our top 10 drivers for this restart. It's going to be Charlie Woods, Bob Lacavera, Chris Walker, Todd McGregor, Philip Sanchez, Hanover Fist, a.k.a. Terry Adams, Drew Chisler, Keith Handelin, Dave Hunt, and Jordan Ippolito. Rounding out the top 10 as the pace truck leads them out of turn number 4. Get ready to go green this time. If you've got a beer, take a sip, get out of your seats, cheer on your favorite driver. I know that's exactly what these fans in the stands are doing right now. Just because you're home watching on TV doesn't mean you cannot do the same. And we're going to take a look at our start-finish cam here as Barney gets ready to wave the green flag with Charlie Woods on the button.
Green, green, green.
And we're back, green flag racing. Come on, Barney, wave that thing, buddy. Charlie Woods and the number 33 of Chris Walker getting a really good jump on the rest of the field, although, Caden, you don't want to get too far in front because that freight train's going to be coming, am I right?
Yeah, they are very spread out. That could lead to a massive run coming from those guys that are a little bit further back here, depending on how they stack up here. But it is very likely they could get a run and get the high side rolling again.
Yeah, it usually takes about a quarter of a lap for the momentum to build, but you see a lot of these drivers really thinned out. So Lacavera, he's going to want to fall in line, as he does, behind the number 53 of Dave Hunt. Single file, kind of the way you want to run the majority of this race. It's the safest route, right? Especially when you have 80 laps to go. Now, if you're doing Draft Masters, you've got 18 laps, and that's a different story. But 80 laps, I'm going to try and stay single file, just pace ourselves, and then race it out in the last few laps of the races. We see entire field now single file. Now, Caden, we will see some drivers start to get impatient. If you had to estimate or if you had to predict which driver is going to be the first one to step by the line, who do you think it's going to be?
100% Dave. He has experience running other leagues that do exclusively speedway racing, so he does this. He knows how these cars work. He's good at it, so I expect him to full on be up front at the end of this thing, fighting for the win. But also I say that because he is the first car outside of Philip and is that Drew Chisler in 6, I believe. They're not the 3 teammates at the front, so definitely see him making a move to try and get up there and get that stage win to have the track position.
Yeah, Dave Hunt, your points leader, but as it looks right now, the first one stepping out of line is Hanover Fist. Realized that nobody wanted to come with him, so he's going to get back in line as we go on board here with Hanover Fist right behind Bob Lacavera. Bob Lacavera in his signature Convergent Composites Chevrolet Camaros. We see Terry, a.k.a. Hanover Fist, stepping out of line again. Let's see if anybody decides they want to go with him. We've got Ron Deal making the move with him. Let's see how much momentum they can get, if any, and see if they can't pick up another few drivers to form up that top line.
Oh, looks like they're initially losing momentum here. I believe it's PK and Jordan back there that had got up top for a split second. PK's back in line though. It doesn't really look like they're going to have enough momentum to actually make up any ground here for the time being.
Now, if a few drivers in front of him step out of line like we see Chisler and Lacavera doing, does look like PK, Paul Krumrye, decided to go outside with him, as well as Keith Handlin and Jordan Ippolito, trying to form up that top line. Can't necessarily say I agree or disagree with the decision, but nevertheless, have an outside line forming. Oh, and there they go, there they go, there they go. There they go again. Caution is out on lap number 14. Let's take a look at the AI Chief instant replay. We're going to have to change this view here as we see Fred Williams involved in that wreck again. Let's back it up and see exactly what happened. That's the number 65, 69, Terry Adams, getting a little loose. Ron Deal doing the same thing, getting into the 56 of Anderson. And around they go.
It's just from my point of view, it looks like this car is just really loose on the transition from going from the straightaway to the banking tonight. It's a common behavior that we've seen up top on that top line. The car just kind of losing its stability when it's trying to load up into the corner.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe the setup's a little bit too loose, but ladies and gentlemen, while we are under caution, we are going to have a word from AI Chief.
Now, driver, while the field gets sorted out and someone out there is still trying to find reverse, let me ask you a question. Have you ever been in the middle of a race and thought, man, I really wish someone in my headset would tell me what the hell is going on? Maybe you're running out of fuel. Maybe the leader is about to lap you. Maybe you just wrecked half the field and you're pretending it wasn't your fault. Well, driver, that's where I come in. AI Chief, your personal crew chief, race strategist, motivator, and occasionally the only voice of reason between you and the outside wall. With AI Chief, you get live race strategy, fuel and pit calls, real-time race updates, savage coaching when you start doing something dumb, and trust me, based on what I've seen out there tonight, some of you really need the help. AI Chief doesn't just tell you when to pit, he tells you when to save fuel, when to push, and when to maybe, just maybe, stop trying to go 3 wide into turn 1. So if you're tired of racing blind and you'd like a crew chief that actually knows what he's doing, head over to AIChiefRacing.com and let Chief get you sorted out. Because the only thing worse than wrecking is wrecking without knowing why. AI Chief, I've got your back. Now let's get back to the action.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here under caution still. If you're interested in AI Chief, you can visit AIChiefRacing.com/bigtime. That'll support the stream. AI Chief's a useful tool if you're looking to have a crew chief that's going to help you strategize throughout your race. Now, as we are under caution, we are going to have a quick chat with our current points leader, Dave Hunt. Dave, you got a copy?
I got you, Joe.
Man, so 2 cautions in 14 laps, and what are you kind of going through right now? What's that do for you mentally in this race?
Well, I'm just sort of just hanging it out, and there's a new driver here. I've never raced with Drew before, so I was following him around a little bit to see what's going on. But yeah, I'm just gonna hang out here and just take it easy.
Yeah, now, Dave, we do have a special guest in the booth, and that person is Caden Henry Oaks. Caden, you got anything for Mr. Dave here?
Yeah. Well, how's it out there without me?
I was
First
looking
off.
for you, Caden. Actually, I was wondering where you're at.
Yeah. That, and then second off, how's the car feel? Because it looks like we've seen a couple of these guys get loose on entry. They kind of like the car just kind of loses stability on that transition from the straightaway to the banking when they're up top.
That's exactly right. That's what Bob was just talking about. It's a little loose on entry, so just I don't know, I just watch out for it, I guess. But yeah, it is a little loose on entry.
Gotcha. Yeah. We just kind of take a note of that. Figured, drag you in here and ask you that. How your car is feeling and how you feel about how this race is going for you.
Yeah, I think it's going to go good. I'm just going to hang out here, like I said, and see what happens towards the end of the race. Race at the end.
Right. Alrighty. Sounds good, Dave. We appreciate it.
All right, Gaten. It's good hearing from you. Thanks, Joe.
Yes, sir. All right, ladies and gentlemen, pace car leading them out of turn number 2 down the back straightaway. Getting ready to go green here. We'll take a quick look at our 10-car lineup. Not much has changed. Charlie Woods, Chris Walker to his outside, Todd McGregor, Philip Sanchez, Dave Hunt, Bob Lacavera, Drew Chisler, Hanover, Fist, PK, also known as Paul Crumrye, and Keith, the man Handlin, rounding out the top 10. Now, Caden, what do you think we're going to see on this next restart?
I think we're going to see the 40, 33, and 71 try and get in line here because it looks like they've been, working together. Obviously, the 3 of them are teammates, so I'm sure they'll try and get in line or some type of way because Chris is really racy. He likes to give 110% all the time, and he's good at it. He races hard, he races clean, and aggressive. So.
Yeah, as long as a lot of these things with the restarts, when you're starting up front, your restart depends on the guy behind you, right? If he doesn't get a good restart, and that could make a recipe for disaster. But we've got Charlie Woods on the button, across the front straightaway into the restart zone.
Green.
And we are green. Now, contrary to what I was just saying before, McGregor getting a decent restart, and then Philip Sanchez getting in line as well, kind of leaving the 33 of Walker out to dry. He's going to have to wait for Chisler and company to catch up to him to gain some of that momentum. But, good restart by these guys up front, as most of them all single file with just 2 cars, now 3 cars, 4, 5 cars on the top line. A couple of them are separated a little bit. They're going to have to be patient, get up there and get the momentum. But nevertheless, 13 to go here in the stage. Caden, what are your we'll do this. What's your prediction on who is going to win tonight's race?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I want to say PK right off rip. He's good at positioning his car, and he has good racecraft. So he knows how to finish these things off, and just run good throughout.
Yeah, I'm something about that 71 car of McGregor has been catching my eye the past few weeks. He was running really good at Pocono, in and outside of the top 5. We see him here running P2 right now. I think I'm going to go with my pick to win the race, McGregor.
I'm not going to say that's a bad pick because I do think it's a good one. Todd, in comparison to at the start of last year, the first season he ran with these cars since they've been updated, his racecraft has definitely picked up his pace compared to when we got a wreck in the back.
We do have another wreck.
Yep.
You doing there, bud?
We do. We'll see that was your pick to win the race, PK
Was.
Paul Crumrye. Let's take a look at this from the far chase. We'll look at it. Half speed. AI Chief instant replay. Paul Cromrye just cleared himself off the number 6. Not sure if maybe he didn't know he was there. Few other cars kind of getting jammed up in that as well. Take a look at it from the broadcast perspective. Paul just coming up into the 6. 17 getting wrapped up in it as well. The 56. A few cars with some minimal damage. Paul, his car is toast. He's going to have to come down for a fast repair. But, yeah, Talladega is definitely showing its face today. Now,
Yeah, looking back at the replay, it looks like the 33 and 5 made contact on a checkup there into 1, and PK is just going up top to avoid that, and he just wasn't clear of the 6 and slid up a little too much. It's just kind of an accordion effect there.
Yeah, these checkups are, for lack of a better term, horrible, right? We saw it at the Cup race on Sunday with Austin Hill checking up real hard because he overshot the turn after the start-finish line and just got steamrolled by SVG, and that caused a freight train. So, but it's not easy, right, to try and avoid that. You're carrying so much momentum, so much speed, and you know, even a 5 to 10 mile per hour difference is extremely significant as far as your reaction time, right? You got to think they're doing, 110 to 120 miles an hour off that restart. The car in front of you, if he's doing 110 and you're doing 120, it's, the reaction time just isn't there.
Right.
But it's interesting you talk about, the updates to these cars, and iRacing constantly doing updates, trying to get the aerodynamics and performance of these cars as close to the real thing as possible. And the question I have is, what does that do for the drivers after iRacing comes out with such a significant update?
Well, from the update they had at the last build, and this is probably closer to the beginning of the year, where they completely overhauled I call it Xfinity car, sorry. It changes how you completely drive the car. It changes the suspension geometry, all that type of stuff under the car, how it's fundamentally set up, because they had changed a truck arm rule with how the rear end is mounted to the car through the suspension. So it's just a complete overhaul and changing how you drive the car simply, just from top to bottom around the whole circuit, any track you go to.
Yeah, and I just lost my my whole train of thought completely. But yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it makes a ton of difference. I know when they did the update to the trucks, that was really hard to get used to as far as the aerodynamics, and somebody packing air on your left rear, and it just got you horribly loose compared to what the update was before. But it challenges you as a driver, right? As they try and get more close to almost had a beer spill. A challenge, as the cars get more closer to the real thing, it kind of humbles you a little bit, right? And it makes you realize just how difficult it is to drive these cars in real life. And we get the luxury to do it from the comfort of our own home, and I can't even imagine how it is, in real life in the cars. Now, Caton, you've got some experience on a race team, and from interacting with some of these drivers, what feedback or what kind of advice or insight at all can you provide as far as what it's like to drive inside the race car?
Believe it or not, it's actually harder to drive on the sim just because you don't actually have the feel of the car in your butt. But like from a mechanical standpoint, it is much harder to drive it on the sim because you can't feel everything that you feel out on the track. And we have, softwares, simulators, this, that, and the other that tell us what's fast, but sometimes that doesn't always translate. Like, a good example of that would be Trackhouse this year. They're funded by GM. They have a bunch of money, and they haven't had the best performance, right? So it's very hard to hit the nail on the head when you're doing a lot of sim work.
Yeah, and you've got teams out there, because the sim plays a huge factor in how these drivers prepare for the races. But you've got teams like Colleague that have introduced the Ram into the truck series, and they don't have that partnership with Chevrolet, so they can't actually run the Chevrolet simulators. And I can only imagine how what that does to the drivers as they try and prepare for the races.
Yeah, it's definitely a big toll when you're not able to prepare the way you normally are, especially with the young drivers who are used to that. They come up doing that, and then they don't have the ability to use it just because of a partnership that is no longer there.
Yeah, it's all about the Benjamins, baby, and a little bit about Breaking Benjamin is you've got that on one of your cars. But we're back green flag racing here at Talladega Superspeedway, Downforce Racing Series. Charlie Woods getting a monster jump. McGregor following in behind him, leaving Dave Hunt out to dry. But Dave Hunt's got a few cars behind him, got some momentum going, and a little bit of side-by-side racing up here at the front at the restart. 7 laps to go in the stage. Everybody's going to be fighting for some of that track position as we come to the stage. Now, Caden, coming to the stage, what 7 to go in the stage. Let's just say, you're sitting 7th or 8th. What's kind of your strategy to be? You want to try and you're just going to be complacent in where you are, or you want to try and gain some track position?
This is a peculiar situation here. You're at the front. You want to stay at the front, like you said, middle of the pack. You want to do your best to get that track position right. But it's really hard to pass once we get up and going, just because of there's not 20, 30 cars in the field, so it's a little bit harder to make runs. But you kind of do the best with what you can. And really, if you're able to get 3, 4 cars up there packed really tight, you can make that run to get to the lead.
Yeah, Talladega, it's kind of a catch-22 of a question, right? Because it's not like a traditional 1.5 miles where, let's just say, for instance, you are too wide and you get a run. You can send it 3 wide and make a pass, but Talladega is such a momentum-based track. You just can't do that on your own. You need help.
Right, and you can see it right now at the top line. They're getting the momentum, and this is going to help them the whole way around the track, as long as they keep up top, which they don't. Dave's chopping down low. And I will say it's good on him because he has 2 teammates right behind him in Charlie and Chris. So, he's going to do his best to make that car as wide as possible here to defend the lead.
Yeah, as we go on board here with Tyrone Harris, right up on the bumper of Chris Walker. And you see Walker and Tyrone Harris getting a little bit loose there, transitioning from the banking to the straightaway. But they've got a whole lot of momentum here going into 4 as McGregor goes a little wide there behind Charlie Woods. It's such a difficult thing trying to figure out which lane you wanna run in, because one lane will have momentum, then the next lane will have momentum, and it's kind of a back and forth. And mentally, as a driver, it's taxing, right? Because if you're on the inside line and the high line gets momentum, well, then you switch to, you find a spot, you get in on the high line. Well, now the inside line's got momentum. Sometimes you just don't know where to go.
Right. And you can see from the onboard here, these cars, they look really floaty today. And that might just be a different shock package compared to the last time we ran. Massive stack up there. But like I said, those cars look really floaty. It looks like they're just not really in the track all that well. But you can see that, you mess up the momentum just a tiny bit and other lanes just completely gone.
Yeah, it's almost as if there might be a little bit too much nose weight in the cars for the setups this week, causing the rear ends to be a little slippy and slidey. But a lot of these drivers, you know, are able to kind of manage that. I personally would rather a car that's a little bit looser rather than a car that's a little bit tighter. I can get the car to grip up a little bit more when it's loose, and I can get the car to, you know, lose some of that grip when it's running tight. But you know, some of these drivers doing a really good job at it. Charlie Woods looks like he's not having any issues at all. Same with McGregor and Hunt and Philip Sanchez. So
yeah, it's sorry, I'm crew chiefing for Jordan at the same time here.
Oh, you're good.
But yeah, I mean, this is a really weird situation here because we see, you know, that top line, they just faded a lap and a half ago, and you can see they're already starting to come back. Chris and Terry and Drew are trying to make a high line work here.
And Mike Whitaker, unfortunately, has lost the draft. Good thing is we're on 2 to go. And he'll bunch back up to the field. But right now, the race leader, Charlie Woods, showing some poise and some consistency as he has now led a few laps here in this race. As we take a quick look at our race leader, Charlie Woods leading 26 of the 30 laps here tonight at Talladega. Tom McGregor leading 3 and Dave Hunt leading 1. So Charlie Woods taking control of this race and showing that he's got what it takes to make a run at this championship.
Oh yeah, Charlie is a very strong driver. I know that firsthand. He put a belt to me in Michigan a couple weeks ago, and he made a really good move at Texas last year to also beat me, not only on strategy, but he had raw pace.
Yeah, and that's the you know, the good thing about running league races, right? You run with. I feel like a lot of these guys, especially in leagues like here, the Downforce Racing Series, a lot of these guys have good racecraft. They have respect for each other. They know how to race, and they're really good. I know when I ran a few of the Thursday night O'Reilly Series races last season, and ran at Talladega on one of the Thursday night races, and it was intense. It was probably the most intense race that I've ever ran at Talladega. It was such tight racing. It was fast racing, and it was clean racing. I think I might have got involved in an incident or two that was my fault. But you know, when you get into these league races, some of these guys only do league races, right? And don't get confused with, you know, some of their I ratings, right? Because I mean, they just only do league racing. You can learn a lot in league racing that you can apply to officials, and you know, it gives you an opportunity to work on your racecraft and to work on your line without risking a penalty of impacting your safety or your I rating.
Yeah, you know, the league racing part of things doesn't affect, you know, how you're ranked for the official races, right? But it does really good on teaching racecraft and how to approach longer events, because these are typically, you know, 50-60% of an official race length that's run in real life. So you know, it teaches how to, you know, get a driver through the long haul and you know, put laps in, get seat time, all that stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I'm in a few leagues myself, and you know, I was never really a big league racer when I first got started. I just didn't really care for it. But the more I thought about it and got into some league racing, and it is definitely made a difference, and it gives you a chance to to not have to worry about your safety and your iRating, because you and I both know some of these officials can get out of hand.
You're right about that. 110%.
The race off pit road is happening right now. John Anderson looks like he might. Nope. McGregor, first one out. McGregor, Anderson, Charlie Woods, Dave Hunt, Bob Lacavera, Chris Walker, Philip Sanchez, Ron Deal, Tyrone Harris, Mike Whitaker, and Hanover Fist, with a few drivers staying out for the wave round. Oh, that was at Bolito. I thought that was Chris Walker. So Jordan Ippolito making up some positions there on pit road. We'll take a quick look at our biggest gainers of the night. John Anderson up 12 spots, sitting in 4th right now, started 16th. Drew Chisler up in the race lead right now, up 8 positions. Jordan Ippolito up 7, Dave Hunt up 6, and Keith Handelin up 3 positions. So we've got a little bit of a shakeup here up front, Caden. I wonder how it's going to play out.
Yeah, that is quite the shakeup. We got Charlie losing the lead and going all the way back to 6th. Is uncharted territory for him today after putting on a clinic in the first stage. So we'll see how he gets back to the front here. Going to be lining up behind Todd instead of in front of him or beside him, which he's done all night.
Yeah, good thing is being able to get a restart with a teammate. You guys can kind of work together and navigate through the field. But you've got Chisler, Handel, and Ippolito, who have been more or less running mid to rear pack the entire first stage. If we stay green, we'll have at least one green flag pit stop, which shakes everything up a lot, right? You gotta work with guys on the track that you might not typically work with to make sure you have a drafting partner when you come out, and it changes the, what's the word I'm looking for? The trajectory. Big word right there. Get your Webster's dictionary. Yeah, it changes the trajectory of the race.
Yeah, and one thing that I say to look out for, and this is just because there is only one car laps down. PK did get 1 lap back. He was 2, so he is not out of this race. If we have another mishap somewhere in the field, somebody spins out, brings a yellow, he's right back in it. Had a big crash, had to tow, but he's still not out of this yet.
Definitely not. We're definitely gonna have at least another caution, and I say that extremely lightly because it is possible that we don't. But it's still anybody's race. I mean, who knows? Chisler, since he's gotten up front, he might just stay up front. Hanlon, he might take the lead. Ippolito, he might get his 2nd win of the season. So I mean, it's really anybody's race, regardless of where you start. And yeah, I mean, you can start up front, fall to the back. You can start in the back and make your way up to the front. It's Talladega is a very unique track. You see Chisler here doing some scrubbing, trying to keep some heat in the tires. And he'll be on the button when we restart. Handling to his outside. He's going to have Ippolito behind him, giving him a push. As they approach the restart zone, it's going to be Chisler on the button. Lap number 34 of 80.
Green flag.
Big jump for the 6 here on the restart. He's going to get swallowed up by the 17 to 71 around the high side unless they go low, which they do. This is going to set up Jordan perfectly to take the lead here if he decides to go for it. I don't think there's going to be a massive run to where it would hurt him to push the 6, but I don't see him staying behind the 6. I'm wrong.
Yeah, well, no, he stepped out of line right there. Oh, we got somebody off track. I hear screeching tires. Somebody blew a motor. Oh, Chris Walker, Bob Lacavera, down on the apron. Let's take a look at the AI Chief replay and let's see what happened there. See the 5 and the 33. Little checkup by Hunt. Accordion effect, and on the apron they go.
Massive hits.
Destroy the cars.
Yep.
Bob and Chris both having to jump to the pits there. But I wonder.
Jordan looking for a lead again.
Yeah, and he's got McGregor and Charlie Woods behind him, giving him a push. He might have them. He's clear. He's clear of Chisler right now. We've got Woods and McGregor and John Anderson giving a hell of a push to each other. Getting all 4 drivers clear of Chisler. Hunt looked like he wanted to squeeze his nose in there in front of Chisler, but Chisler closed that gap, and he's just going to have to file back in behind Keith Handlin because he's got absolutely nobody out there helping him. But new race leader, ladies and gentlemen, Jordan Ippolito. Jordan, your race winner last week at Pocono. Looking to get another solid finish out of the race here at Talladega. 44 laps to go. We've got some separation. We've got 2 packs now. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So top 7 are in a pack. Let's go take a look at Hanover Fist leading that second pack with Paul Crumry, Philip Sanchez, Tyrone Harris, Mike Whitaker. Ron Deal off the pace. Back 8 seconds. I wonder if it had anything to do with that wreck involving Lacavera and Chris Walker. But we're going to go on board here with Paul Crumry, as he is the second car in the second pack. Now, Caden, if these guys can form up a solid line, they should be able to catch back up to that lead pack.
In theory, yeah. But what it's really going to take is they're going to need 4 or 5 cars, packed up tightly. They're going to need Phillip and Tyrone and a couple other guys behind them all to line up, and really to get the momentum going there, they would need to slide up a little bit off the turns, run the qualifying line, which actually, if you look at the telemetry right now, they are gaining. Looks like the front pack is side by side, so that's going to help also. Punch a bigger hole in the air for these guys to catch up.
Yeah, and that's something that a fair amount of drivers don't really understand, right? If you're in that lead pack and you've got a pack behind you, let's just say, in this case, 2 seconds, as soon as you go side by side, it slows you down tremendously, and you can watch your relative and just watch that pack behind you just slowly creep up, as they're now just about inside the draft. We'll take a look at Hanover Fist. They're just about a second, maybe a little bit over a second behind that lead pack, and they're almost in the draft. I do believe they're in the draft. You can see how quick Hanover Fist is gaining ground on the number 6 of Chisler.
Yeah, they're 100% on the way back, and it definitely helped with Keith and Dave getting up to the top and actually making it all the way up to the lead. Very impressive for them to go around the other 4 cars there, with just 2 of them to make it up to the front.
Yeah, and that second line that they created up front is now single file back out. We've got a new race leader by the way of Dave Hunt, followed by Handlin and Jordan Ippolito. Well, you've got McGregor and Charlie Woods the teammates working together. Hopefully going to be able to make it here at the end of the race. Hopefully, well, maybe they'll do a 1-2 finish combination.
Definitely looking for it. A surprise to me, Keith Hanlon actually getting up there and pushing Dave to the front. He's not very well known for the speedway racing, but last year Rockingham, he did win that race, and it was, I would 100% say it was a statement win, because we had a jam-packed field that race, albeit it wasn't one of the broadcasted ones, but we had a pretty stout field that night, and he was able to drive to the front and drive off from us.
Yeah, it's always good when you can drive on a track that you really do well in, and you can kind of dominate the field. And a lot of times it's not necessarily getting up front and staying up front, right? It's how you navigate through the field. It's how you take your chances, when you make your moves. And right now, Dave Hunt, Keith Hanlon have done an excellent job making their way up to the front. But now that they've single filed out, that pack behind them with Hanover Fisk, Philip Sanchez, Tyrone Harrison, Mike Whitaker, falling back about a second and a half from Anderson. So they're going to have to be creative if we stay green here as far as pit cycling, and when they can get into the pits and get back out in front of that lead pack.
Yeah, they fell off quite a bit there. I don't know if they were overheating or maybe they started racing, but they were up there well within target range of climbing back up there to the front. But it looks like PK is just maybe going to go back here and kind of log some laps. Doesn't want to put himself in any danger as far as getting any contact, losing that lucky dog if he gets contact when a yellow comes out.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit difficult for Paul to get back on the lead lap, especially with everybody single filed out. It's going to take a dramatic mistake by any one of these drivers to bring out a caution, as he is the first car that's a lap down. So if we do get a caution, he will be the lucky dog recipient. Lacavera and Williams will have to, Walker and Lacavera will have to opt for the wave around, because I do believe at this time they're only a lap down as well. But it looks like just a tiny bit of disorganization in this back line, as we see some of the drivers kind of weaving around a little bit, not really staying bunched up together and staying, staying in line, so to speak, to maximize that draft. We'll take a look at this lead pack here. Coming up on Lacavera, gonna unfortunately put him 2 laps down. He will be able to suck up to the rear of this pack. I mean, anything's possible. He could end up making a run with somebody up to the front, but nevertheless, we still stay green. Dave Hunt, Keith Hanlon, Jordan Ippolito, Todd McGregor, Charlie Woods, your top 5 drivers. You got Drew Chisler and John Anderson completing the 7 drivers on this lead pack, with Anderson swinging way wide on entry, and I think that's got to do with the floatiness of the setup. So we're on board here with John Anderson. It's not as easy as it seems, right? Trying to stay glued to that bottom line. Got a lot of factors that affect you. It's your steering input, it's the air that's coming off the car in front of you, and if you get a little bit too far to the inside, the car's going to rotate a little bit more, and just makes it a little bit more difficult. But these guys have now pulled away about 8 seconds on the second pack. So they've made a lot of ground. And then they're almost to a point where they might be safe if they make a green flag pit stop here soon.
They 100% are. They're not going to lose a lap if they go and make a pit stop now. The second pack is actually very strung out. They were racing side by side and just trying to get themselves figured out and just kind of handing time to that front pack, to be honest with you. But they're getting strung back together here. Try and make another run.
Yeah, anything is possible. We could get a caution. The front pack could start racing, allowing them to catch up a little bit. Although it will take quite a few laps for them to catch up if the front pack decides to go single file. But that's just the nature that is Talladega Superspeedway.
Yeah, and now we are in the pit window here to get to the end. I wouldn't trust it for green light checker until we hit 30 to go, until we hit lap 51, just in case, because the next pit stop you make is going to be the last stop of the day.
Yeah, and if you think about it from a fuel standpoint, right? Dave Hunt going to be burning the most fuel out of the drivers in this pack, so some of these drivers will not have to take as much fuel as Dave. I mean, they're still going to need the same amount of fuel. It's just the amount that they have to put in the tank is going to be a little bit less. And, if you think in hindsight, let's just say it's only a gallon, right? But that, that half a second that it takes to dump that extra gallon of fuel in there means the difference of the guy in the pit box behind you getting out a half a second sooner.
Right. And that half second could cost you the race, depending on how many cars are in the front pack, because it also depends on how many cars you have up there at the front at the end of this thing, because the more cars, the more runs you can make, the more volatile you can be with how you position yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. You see Hanlon swinging way wide, coming across the trial through the start-finish line. Almost lost the position of Ippolito there. That would have strung him out to dry. He would have had to fall to the rear. But one thing that I don't necessarily enjoy is fuel saving, right? And based off of some of these lap times these guys are run, does not look like they're saving much, if anything at all.
Yeah, no, they're definitely running it because they know they're not going to make it to the end. At least for these front three cars here, they're 100% wide open. And naturally Dave is going to use more fuel, like you said, but we'll have to see how that turns out, because there could be varying strategies on how these guys approach their final pit stop. Because the tires do wear. They don't wear a lot as far as the percentage of the tires, but you do lose grip. You definitely lose a lot of grip throughout the run.
Yeah, we'll see some drivers maybe doing a splash and go, maybe taking right side tires, maybe taking left side tires. It all depends on what your strategy is. But if we take a quick look at your fastest laps of the race, fastest lap right now is Paul Krumrine sitting in 13th position with a 49.52. Ippolito and Whitaker, Tyrone Harris, and John Anderson all setting times extremely close to that, with Tyrone Harris and John Anderson both running a 49.66. We'll take a quick look at our biggest gainers of the night. Dave Hunt up to the lead, gaining 12 positions. John Anderson gaining 9, Ippolito gaining 7, Mike Whitaker gaining 5, and Hanover Fist gaining 4 positions. And we'll take a look at our pit information. Dave Hunt pitted 19 laps ago. Keith Hanlon pitted 30 laps ago for repairs only. And Chisler pitting 30 laps ago for tires and fuel. So we might have some varying strategies up in the front, with Dave Hunt having just a little bit more fuel than Hanlon, as Hanlon pit 31 laps ago. Hamlin might have to break off sooner. We don't know. We should see here shortly as we're in the window for the final pit stop of the race. Now, I'm almost 100% sure that the teammates that are running in this lead pack are going to pit together, and those being at least McGregor and Charlie Woods. And I'm not 100% sure if John Anderson is with Old Guys Rule, but if he is, he'll be pitting with them as well. We're on board here with Jordan Ippolito running in third right now. This lead pack has now worked their way out to a 10-second lead on the second pack. Really hooked up, really in line with each other, and just absolutely running away from the pack, from the second pack.
Fully expect to see Keith in here in probably the next 3 or 4 laps, just because of how long it's been since he last pit. He is going to have to put quite a bit of fuel in that thing, more than the rest. But it'll be interesting to see if Dave goes with him, you know, and anybody else really. But if I'm Dave, I think I want to stay out here and, you know, try and push this pace. Because they're actually getting a gap to the rest of the field there.
Yeah, and the one thing that you do not want to do here at Talladega is pit by yourself. You, at bare minimum, want to have another car with you. Ideally, you'd want to have, you know, 3 or 4, maybe even 5. But, you know, hopefully Hamlin has enough fuel and he can stick with these guys as long as he can, and hopefully pit together with them as we see Hunt, McGregor, and Ippolito got some separation over McGregor, almost like we have 3 packs, although the gap is only about 0.6 of a second, so they're still in the draft. And we've seen some drivers come down for pit stops. Sanchez, Hanover Fist, coming down for their pit stops, unfortunately going a lap down. See if we can turn on the voice chat. See if we can hear some of these drivers calling out their pit stops. I usually don't turn it on, but I'm curious to see when these guys are going to come down and pit. Now, green flag pit stops, always challenging. You've got those hot tires. You've got to slow down really quickly. And, you know, you've seen a lot of drivers over the races get caught speeding. They might wreck out. So it's really challenging trying to get on pit road here, coming down from, you know, 190, 195 miles an hour to 55. Got Ron Deal in pit road. Ron Deal in pit road. Believe that we saw Mike Whitaker coming out of pit road. Now, a lot of these drivers are in Discord chat, so we might not actually hear any radio traffic through the sim. But I'm surprised Hamlin is still out on the track. He's he's got quite a few laps on that tank of fuel. I think he might be running that thing dry, Caden.
Yeah, it's impressive how far he's gone. As we're looking at 37, 38 laps
I don't know
that
why
he's
you're
on
in such
right
a hurry.
now.
You can't go nowhere.
Oh, we got a wreck in the back.
Yep, we caught a view of it.
In the wall.
We heard a little bit of radio traffic. Somebody said, "I don't know why you're in a rush. We can't go nowhere." I wonder if that was the parties involved in that wreck. That was the number 6 of Drew Chisler involved in that. So we take a look at our instant replay. Chisler behind Charlie Woods. Let's see if this is where it happened. I hope I clicked the right. Charlie Woods goes a little high. Chisler underneath.
He's at the end of the back stretch. Gives him a bump. Unsettles Charlie and
Yep.
John going to his outside. I think John could have definitely left a little bit more room there. Just
Yeah, I think John was just
trying to miss him.
yeah.
And
But it looks like oh no, that's not netcode. It looked like netcode
Nah,
for a second,
yeah.
but it is not. Well, that's gonna change everything up. Caution coming out. Field's gonna bunch back up. No more separation. 20 laps to go here, and I think we're gonna be in for a thriller.
yeah, it's gonna be all take and no give now. You have a 20-lap dash here to the end.
We'll take a look at the race off pit road. $2,000 fuel for Ippolito. McGregor opting for 4. It's going to be Ippolito. I think Hamlin might have gotten in front of McGregor there. And as the drivers of the Downforce Racing Series complete their pit stop under caution, we are going to step away for just a second. we will take a look at our 10-car lineup for this restart. It's going to be Keith Handlin, Jordan Ippolito, John Anderson, Todd McGregor, Tyrone Harris, Charlie Woods, Dave Hunt, Drew Chisler, Philip Sanchez, and Mike Whitaker, completing out your top 10 drivers for what could be the final restart of the race. Jordan Ippolito making his way back up to the front. He's got two good pushers behind him. Also, not just pushers, but drivers behind him by way of Todd McGregor and Charlie Woods. Be interesting to see how these three on the inside take the restart. Pace truck leading them out of turn number 4, making that hard left turn onto pit road. Jordan Ippolito with control on the restart. McGregor behind him, Handlin to his outside. Anderson behind Handlin.
Green flag, green flag.
Ippolito, McGregor getting an absolute monster of a jump. Handlin getting a good jump as well. He's going to have to wait for some help. Tyrone Harris trying to do all he can to push the number 56 of John Anderson, but the momentum that the bottom line has gained is going to outweigh anything that they can put together without some more help behind them.
Yeah, really good restart by the bottom lane. Got the first 3 cars clear right now of Jordan, Todd, and Charlie. Looks like Todd and Charlie, I'm assuming they will probably end up going up high here just because they're teammates. I know they want the lead here late in the race.
Yep, they go high. They've got some help behind them. Dave Hunt, Keith Handlin, and Bob Lacavera. Tyrone Harris sneaking
Very late
inside
move.
that little hole right there. He's lucky that there was not a wreck there. He made it work for the time being. A few cars going down below the yellow line there. Usually when that happens is a wreck. We stay green. Nobody makes any significant contact. McGregor up to the lead now. He's got his teammate Charlie Woods pushing him. Tyrone Harris making his way up into the top 5 for the first time in the race. Bottom line's got the numbers. We're approaching the end of the runway. Coming across the start-finish line, we will be down to 15 laps to go. We've got Ippolito making a move up to the high line. He's got Dave Hunt behind him, pushing Ippolito. Almost got sandwiched in the middle. Sandwiched in the middle now, and Anderson loose on the bottom. Able to keep it under control, but caution is out.
Get more acclimated to it, or is it still difficult?
Carnage behind them. We'll take a look at the AI Chief instant replay. See what happened there. Looks like Anderson's getting loose and everybody starts checking up behind him. Chisler down on the apron, and then Sanchez was there, and ouch, Lacavera blowed his engine. I think that's going to do it for him. I think he's out of fast repairs.
A big hit for Phillip there too.
Let's go back and see if we can't take a look.
It's really all started up top here. Dave gets close to Jordan here, trying to push him up front, and just, you know, the cars are really unstable. We said that earlier in the race here. Just kind of essentially steering him without touching him, if you will. You know, John's trying to leave room and, you know, not wreck Jordan, and it just kind of gets him unsettled there. And, you know, it's another accordion effect wreck type deal. Kind of just starts in the front and trickles to the back of the pack, and you know, there's just nothing that you can do because you're going 190 miles an hour, and it's just so hard to react that quick.
Yeah, I agree. It's unfortunate for some of these drivers. Hopefully, some of them have enough fast repairs left. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if Bob Lacavera has any left. He's going to have to sit in the pits and get some damage repaired. We've got some drivers coming down pit road. Hanover Fist, Chisler, Walker, Sanchez. We'll keep an eye on these drivers and see who's got fast repairs left. I don't think Chisler does. Pretty sure Philip Sanchez does.
This is going to put PK back on the lead lap now. It's exactly what he needed to protect his points lead coming into tonight. One ahead of Jordan coming in.
Yeah, don't count out this fella right here, Paul Crumry. Back on the lead lap, sitting in P12. We've got 13 laps to go. We should be restarting with 11. No, maybe 12. But, yeah, I mean, at this point, I wouldn't count anybody out from getting a win. Got McGregor and Charlie Woods back up front for the restart. I could almost predict McGregor's going to get a jump and Charlie Woods is going to file in behind him. All dependent on how good of a restart Tyrone Harris gets behind McGregor. But my calculations were correct. We'll be restarting with 11 laps to go. Down to the wire. We're going to see a lot of aggressive moves. But I would be, how do I say this? I'd be trying everything in my power not to get involved in a late race wreck.
You're right about that. Very, very tough position to be in here.
You know, throughout the race, we haven't really seen many wrecks happening in the front of the pack. Although, as we get down to the wire, especially on the final lap, we're going to see some more rubbing, some more bumping, and you know, I'm just not exactly sure where I want to be coming out of turn number 4 on the final lap.
Either first or last, and not in between.
Yeah, exactly. As you can be in a position where, you know, you're leading, coming out of turn 4, and you're trying to block like hell, and that guy that's behind you, you block him once, you're good. You block me twice, you're not good. You block me 3 times, you're going in the wall. So that's my philosophy. I'm not sure how it'll play out here in the Downforce Racing Series, as a lot of these drivers do have respect for one another, and you know, they want everybody to finish the race. But we'll see. 1 to green right now. Pace truck leading them through turn number 4. McGregor with the button. Ugh, I had to yawn there. Charlie Woods, his teammate, on his outside. 11 laps to go. Once they cross the start-finish line, and we are going to be in for some dramatics here in the Downforce Racing Series, week number 5 at Talladega.
Ready, green flag.
Good run by McGregor and Woods.
Oh, he didn't get clear immediately like he normally has been.
He didn't. He
Still
looked,
get in line.
it looked like he wanted to come down, but then had a little bit too much speed. I think McGregor got a good launch and then slowed up a little bit. But 2 teammates back out in front. Todd McGregor, Charlie Woods. We've got Tyrone Harris and Dave Hunt behind them, but keep an eye on the number 96 of Paul Crumry. Just slightly out of the draft for Paul Crumry. I think he's got enough of it.
Big bobble for Todd there down the back.
Ten laps to go, 9 when we cross the stripe. McGregor and Woods, followed by Tyrone Harris. But we've got some momentum starting to brew on the outside line. Jordan Ippolito, Keith Hanlon.
Keith is right up there in that sweet spot of not hitting Jordan, but also giving him the momentum, giving him the pushes. And you see Dave go up there to block the high line, see if they can keep the momentum up. They've already got to the nose of the 1.
Yeah, high line is where you want to be late in a race. But with the difficulty some of these drivers have been having on the outside line, you could go either way with where you want to be. Outside line looks to be fading just a little bit. I think if they can get 1 or 2 more cars up there, they'll be able to make a push. They've already fallen back about 4 or 5 car lengths from the front of the pack. And I do stand corrected. I thought that Dave Hunt was the points leader. I did not refresh before I started. Oh, and Hunt gets a little bit loose on the outside, but Paul Crumry is your points leader at this point in the season. Jordan Ippolito and Dave Hunt are third. Todd McGregor pretty much tied for fourth. He's 1 point behind Dave Hunt. But they're really, at this point, there's no high line. The high line has completely diminished. 7 laps to go. I think some of these guys are going to be patient and wait until the final lap to make a move. Talladega, definitely one of those tracks you don't want to make a move too early, and you dang sure don't want to make a move too late. But you've got McGregor, Woods, Harris, Anderson, and Philip Sanchez in the top 5 after getting caught in the wreck just a few laps ago. It could be a dramatic and spectacular finish here as Todd McGregor comes across the start-finish line, bringing us to 5 laps to go.
Both the 71 and the 40, put on a very dominating performance today, something you don't normally see at a track like this. You can see it right there with the laps led. Charlie with 26, Todd with 17, Dave, leading a bunch of laps there at the start of the second stage. Just a really overall a tight-knit performance, top notch.
Yeah, I do remember talking to Charlie Woods, and he does like the super speedways. He said he was going to do good here. He's done everything that he said he was going to do. We'll see exactly where he finishes and how good of a finish he can get. Obviously, you want to get a win here. But with his teammate being in front, I could see him making a move, but not so egregious to where it risks wrecking them both. But we shall see. A little bit of contact there between Harris and Anderson. Philip Sanchez getting to the outside of Anderson. A little bit of organization from that high line. I think the best bet that they're going to have is in gaining position is to side draft. But Dave Hunt really giving Sanchez a push, giving him everything that he's got. We'll go on board here with Dave Hunt momentarily before we focus on the lead pack. As you can see there, right now stuck in a little bit of a bubble. We're getting back in line. Coming down to the wire, 3 laps to go. We'll be down to the popsicle sticks, this time across the stripe. Inside line looks like it's just carrying all that momentum at this point in the race. McGregor, Woods, Harris, Anderson, Whitaker, your top 5. Absolutely no momentum on the top line. I would assume that Sanchez is going to try and come down. He's just got absolutely no help behind him. And look at this, hand over fist, gaining some ground. I wonder if he decides to go high and try and make the high line work. Handling gets in a hand over fist, and we got a wreck on the white
Stayed
flag.
green.
McGregor took the white flag as they wrecked, so we will stay green here. White flag brought to you by AI Chief here in the Downforce Racing Series. It's McGregor, Woods, Tyrone Harris, John Anderson. As Anderson makes a move to the high line, Harris gives him a bump, sends him up into the wall.
The 40 laying off the 71, looking to get a run here.
Coming out of turn number 4, Todd McGregor, Charlie Woods, Tyrone Harris, your top 3 finishers, with McGregor taking the checkered flag here at Talladega Superspeedway in the Downforce Racing Series week number 5. Todd McGregor with his first win this season in the Downforce Racing Series. As we take a quick look at your podium finishers. Todd McGregor, teammate Charlie Woods, and Tyrone Harris. Tyrone Harris getting his, believe that was his first top 5 finish of the season. Excellent performance by him.
Shout out to Todd and Jordan. The only 2 drivers, 0x race.
Yeah,
There's 2 bonus points in the bag for them.
That is awesome. So we see Todd McGregor coming down the front stretch. Get ready to burn it down here. Talladega Superspeedway.
What a race.
Yeah, what a finish as well. With, you know, if McGregor hadn't taken the white flag, when Hanover Fist got into that incident, we'd have had a caution and a green-white checkered finish. But being that we had taken the white flag, we stayed green. And we've got Charlie Woods in the waiting room. We're going to wait just a few seconds to see who else we can grab. We've got Todd McGregor, we've got Charlie Woods, and we've got Tyrone Harris. Great. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for our interview segment. And we will start the interview off with Tyrone Harris. Tyrone, this is Front Row Joe and Caden Henry Oaks up in the booth. You got a copy?
Got a copy, guys. How's it going?
It is going great. Tyrone, you've got your first top 5 finish here in the Downforce Racing Series, coming by way of a 3rd place finish here at Talladega. What's kind of going through your mind right now after this phenomenal finish by you?
Oh man, the bad luck string has it's been biting me a lot. Pretty proud of this finish though. It's kind of working with the guys there, just trying not to get ate up by the guys who were coming behind us. If you were on the bottom, it seemed to be working. At the top, not so much. They were having a hard time holding that line. So I felt it was best to stay in line and on the bottom and get a finish to where I could finally get some points for a change.
Yeah, you're sitting a little bit further down in the chain. You're probably about midway in the point standings right now. You're up 4 positions from last week, and starting to make a charge up into the top 10 of the championship point standings. Now, we talk about your previous race finishes. You've kind of seemed to have started to turn it around a little bit, which is awesome. We love to see that. And we're getting ready to go from one extreme to the next as we go from Talladega to Bristol next week. Now, what are some of the things you're looking about Bristol as we go into next week?
Oh, that place, you really got to race the track and not worry about what everybody else around you's doing. The competition in this league is so good that if you make a mistake, you really end up paying for it. So you just got to stay the course, race the track, and save your brakes, save your tires. And I think you can get a good finish at Bristol.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more, Mr. Harris. Ladies and gentlemen, Tyrone Harris, your third place finisher. Tyrone, before we let you go, who do you want to thank and who helped you get it done tonight?
Oh, well, the old Elvis Presley Foundation. I've been running this paint scheme for a long time, trying to get it on a podium, and it feels really good to finally get Elvis some eyeballs on him. So thank that, just all the sponsors who watch me finish in the back every week. It's going to turn around. We're going to get some better finishes for them. So we'll just keep on pushing, and hopefully those results will come.
Absolutely, Tyrone. We're so glad to see you up here in the broadcast booth, and we will see you next week at Bristol.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ready to bring in our second place finisher, and Caden, I will let you do the honors as we bring in your second place finisher, Charlie Woods.
Alrighty, Charlie. Strong second place today. You guys ran up front, the entire day. Really, first thoughts on how the car drove and, your strategy throughout. Was it planned to run up front?
Yeah, the car drove pretty good. Rear tires were getting a little wore out, but other than that, it was good. My teammate was in front of me, out there at the end. I didn't have to worry about winning. I'm worried about helping my teammates out also.
Right. Real good points day, bringing home second, lead a lot of laps, right? Jumped up from 13th to 8th in points. You got, see here, 3 starts on the season, so, really good points per race ratio here, really, and your average finish highest out of everybody that's raced this season. So, how you feel about your chances here in the next few weeks? We go to Bristol next Tuesday night, and afterwards we go to Chicago, Phoenix. How you feel looking out towards the next part of the season here?
Bristol's we don't get along real well, so I'll do okay as long as we don't get wrecked out. Chicagoland will probably be up in the top 3, top 5. We should be okay there. Anyone the mile and a half tracks, I usually do pretty good. The mile track's not bad. Bristol, Martinsville, not real good at, but we'll try and hold on to it.
Gotcha. Sounds good. Any final questions, thoughts, shout outs you'd like to give?
Yeah, my teammates there, and definitely Purple Heart Homes. They're my big sponsor there. Them guys help me out quite a bit, and try to help all the veterans out there, and I appreciate their help. And thanks for the broadcast there, Joe and Caden, and we'll be good till next week.
Sounds good. Thank you, Charlie. Appreciate it.
All right, guys, have a good one.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, if I can type right, we are going to talk to your race winner tonight, Todd McGregor. Todd, this is Front Row Joe and Kate and Henry Oaks in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
So you've not only won the race, you've jumped up into the top of the charts for the championship point standings. What a finish that you came away with, and what a performance by you and your teammate Charlie Woods. walk me through kind of your strategy throughout the race. You guys were up front the majority of the race, and didn't look like you had much of a challenge tonight.
Well, first of all, I'd hardly get anywhere up towards the front on qualifying, so I'm not sure really what happened there to get me to the front on the qualifying lap, but that was a good start for it. We just kind of worked together as a team, and the cautions fell kind of at the right time. That outside line that looked like it could get a run in the beginning of the race, you know, at the drop of the flag, and then they just couldn't get it together. They would have, you know, that was what was holding those guys back. So then we just kind of stuck together and kept tight there. But I owe that to Charlie. He was kind of helping me through that one. And Tyrone was there with us, and Chris and PK, though, they kind of had some bad luck at the beginning of the race, so kind of ruined their night, but they stuck with it. But
you know, we heard some we spoke with some of the drivers throughout the race, and some of their concerns were that the car was real loose on entry as you transition from the straightaways into the banking of the corners. Was that something that you were experiencing as well?
well, I wasn't, and I don't know if it was because I kept a very shallow entry, but the tri-oval started getting a little slick. The track temperature jumped up to about 120 degrees, and the tri-oval was got a little bit loose in the tri-oval, but I honestly didn't have any problems. I was just hugging the bottom.
Yeah. Now we're gonna go from super speedway racing to short track racing next week at Bristol. What are some of your anticipations or expectations as we get ready to go into next week?
It's hard to say. You know, sometimes Bristol is good to me, and more times not, it's not. So that's a pretty tight track, and you know, you got to just be spatial awareness of where you're at on the track, and go out there and have some fun, though.
Awesome, Mr. McGregor. You've got your first win here tonight in the O'Reilly Series, here, the Downforce Racing Series. You've got a total of 4 top 10s, total of 3 top 5 finishes, so an awesome start to your season. Before we let you go, Mr. McGregor, is there anyone you want to thank and give some shout-outs?
Oh, I just appreciate the guys over at Old Guys Rule and Terry and Bob for letting us race over here and doing what they do to make this thing work. And there's a great group of guys in there that's we have a pretty good time. And once in a while we get a little sideways with each other, but you know, at the end of the day, we're all in here just having a good time.
Mr. McGregor, congratulations on your win, and we will see you next week at Bristol.
Okay, man. Thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate you guys doing this broadcast for us. That's pretty nice.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Yep. Have a great evening. Thanks.
Well, Caden, what a finish that we experienced here tonight. Did not luckily we did not have a too much of a dramatic finish. What are some of your takeaways from tonight's race?
To be honest with you, I'm glad I missed this one. If I had to choose any of them to miss, just because I'm personally not a fan of the speedway racing, and that's probably just me, my age showing, I guess. But you know, it was really fun to watch. I enjoyed it. You know, it was fun calling it up here in the booth. A really enjoyable experience. Had fun doing it. A nice change of scenery. But you know, I'm ready to get back behind the wheel with these guys next week. They're fun to be around, and I think we're gonna have a good race next week, just because of the car you get. You really got to drive it around Bristol, and just excited to see what happens next week, how it goes.
Yeah, speaking of next week, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back here live 8:55 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Downforce Racing Series, week number 6 at Bristol, the Coliseum. And excuse me, I have to burp. Excuse me, sorry about that. But yes, we'll be back next Tuesday, 8:55 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The fellas at Downforce Racing Series will be taking on Bristol. We thank everybody for tuning in, and we will see you next week. With that being said, God bless and have a good night. This is Front Row Joe and Kate and Henry Oaks signing out.